Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to be talking about Andrew Yang and the opportunity that exists for Andrew Yang, specifically within Donald Trump's State of the Union. So Donald Trump gave his State of the Union specifically on February 4th, and I think there's a huge opportunity for Andrew Yang to gain ground against against the six Democrat opponents that matter right now, the ones that are making the debates, the ones that are actually showing some numbers in Iowa, delegates or votes, and that's Sanders, Biden, Warren, that's Klobuchar, Buttigieg, and Steyer. Actually, Steyer, you know what? Those are his six real competitors, Andrew Yang, right now, right? But the tables have turned with Iowa. Pete Buttigieg is really much farther ahead than he's ever been before, and Joe Biden is way behind. Joe Biden has lost major ground, in my opinion, since Iowa. Joe Biden's inability to gain even a single delegate in Iowa, with the absolute massive resources that were put behind him, is an absolutely stunning defeat to his campaign. All right, but one of the things I'm convinced of is there's a gold mine of opportunity within Donald Trump's State of the Union address, and I'm what it is I'm very confident that those six people that I just discussed, none of them are going to look in depth at the State of the Union. They're not going to take any lessons from it. So if Andrew Yang sits down, watches it from cover to cover, exactly the way I just did, takes notes and pays attention, there are some really distinct lessons that can be taken away from Donald Trump's State of the Union on how to win the 2020 U.S. presidential primary and the U.S. presidential general, okay? All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to set myself in a mnemonic here. It's going to be draw. It's going to be drive, red, age, and woke. All right, so let's talk. So there were four major things that happened within the Donald Trump's State of the Union, and from those four things, I'm going to talk about the four elements that occurred within Donald Trump's State of the Union, and then I'll draw lessons that Andrew Yang can leverage from the State of the Union. And I think that the real opportunity here is he's going to be the only one who's going to be able to do this. And the reason why is from 2016 forward, the Democrats have made an absolute, joyful hobby of underestimating Donald Trump and not recognizing him and not acknowledging him as a formidable foe. They've underestimated him at every single turn and allowed their underestimation of him to be a powerful weapon that he has used to politically dominate them for 4 years. And and if you think I'm wrong, I'm gonna point to his acquittal, which happened yesterday. There you go. All right. Okay. From his impeachment acquittal. Boy, oh boy. All right. So let's keep it moving. All right. So first, one of the things that happened in the in his State of the Union was red meat for the base. All right, so red meat for the base is a political term. It means going out and hunting and taking down an animal and then bringing back essentially meat that's going to be shared with the tribe, and you're provisioning your people. Right? That's red meat for the base. It's a political term. And basically Donald Trump gave red meat for the base in his State of the Union, and it was highlighting Rush Limbaugh, who was suffering from cancer in the middle of his speech. Boy, oh boy, talk about red meat for the base. Knowing exactly who your audience is and what they like, and just serving up the sweet nectar that they're going to care about. Good grief. That I was like, are you kidding me? It was like, I was stunned. I just could not believe how effective it was. And I'm not a Donald Trump fan by any. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I have no intentions of voting. Of course, my vote is going to Andrew Yang for 2020. And I'm not a Rush Limbaugh fan, but this was so effective. Talking about having Rush Limbaugh at the State of the Union, and then highlighting him as some kind of hero in the middle of your State of the Union, that is red meat for the base. It was incredible. And honestly, I think Andrew Yang can learn from this. He can learn that the Dems have their own heroes too. The Dems have heroes that we absolutely love, people from our history that the Democrats, by and large, across the board, have incredible goodwill and attachment to, the way the Republicans do to Rush Limbaugh. And that if you know the Democrat Party, you know who these people are, and you could time incredibly well-timed, well-crafted, highlights of those people's career, and it could be incredibly important and helpful to your specific political momentum. It was powerful. I want this to be super clear. I was not happy to see Rush Limbaugh highlighted in the middle of the State of the Union, right? But from a pure tactics perspective, holy cows, was it effective. And that's one of the things I think the Democrats really need to be very, very careful to realize. Donald Trump is a formidable foe. And right now, there are no Democrats saying that. They are saying a whole bunch of words exactly the opposite of that, and letting people think that Donald Trump doesn't need to be worried about. And that is turning into people not being extremely very concerned about voting, which I'm like, this, I can't believe how it's incredible how much the Democrats have made it so that people are not alarmed by the formidableness of Donald Trump. They think he's not formidable, like he's not effective, and the Democrats have created this situation, like that he's ineffective and non-formidable, and he can be ignored. And that's what I think what a lot of voters are planning on doing, which is I can't believe the Democrats have set this situation up. So red meat for the base. It's a lesson. You got to pay attention. If you know your party, you could serve red meat up for the base. And Donald Trump is doing it. And I think Andrew Yang should figure out what is the analog for this on the Democrat side. All right, what does this look like for Democrats? All right, and do it, execute it at the same level of quality that Donald Trump just did. Next, Loke Metrics. Holy cows! So Donald Trump presented a ton of woke metrics in the first half of his speech. Okay, the lesson for this one is going to be combined with another one of my points, but I want to put that here. We're going to set it on a shelf. Donald Trump gave a whole bunch of woke metrics, saying these are my woke achievements. These are my achievements that have to do with intersectionality and what I have done for intersectionality groups in America. It was shocking. I was like, what? Is Donald Trump talking about wokeness and being woke and what he has accomplished for woke people? And I was like, and for intersectionality communities? Holy cows. Now, the second half of his speech was all a reminder that he was Donald Trump and things that were super non-woke. So it wasn't all, but the first half of Donald Trump's speech was a whole bunch of woke metrics. Okay. So it was red meat, woke. Okay, next one. Addressing age. Donald Trump addressed his age. At no point did he talk about his age, right? But age is a massive, massive issue in the 2020 U.S. presidential primary. And the reason why is Bernie Sanders' October 2019 event. That has made age probably the number one issue in the entire 2020 U.S. presidential primary. It is, so essentially it has put age at the forefront of concerns for any and all candidates, because we have a situation where we could be looking at something that would happen in the president in the middle in year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 of the presidency that would be of world concern. That's what Bernie Sanders' October 2019 event means, and it changes the entire shape of the election, right? And so age becomes a major concern. Donald Trump stood for an hour and 15 minutes. He stood straight as an arrow. He spoke, and when he spoke, he did not miss a word. He used a teleprompter to do it. He didn't have a single gaffe. His speech was smooth as glass. He projected his voice extremely well. And you know what? At no point ever did he sound grumpy. Okay? I hope you were listening to every single word of that. He addressed his own age and communicated to the American people things that he wanted the American people to know about his age, and things that he wanted to know were not the case about his age to the American people. Now, Andrew Yang is 44 years old, and he needs to be reminding the American people of that every single day. Really, so that's the lesson from the age. Is Donald Trump was assuring the American people, I could stand straight as an arrow, I could talk for an hour and 15 minutes straight and not drop a word, and I can talk to you like my name does not belong next to the word curmudgeon in the dictionary, like I'm not a grumpy person. All that is incredibly important, okay? And it goes directly to what we're dealing with on the Dem side. And Donald Trump, Andrew Yang has a huge opportunity to realize exactly where this opponent is going to be coming from. And because I don't think any of the other candidates are really paying attention to Trump right now. They really aren't. From the perspective of tactics and strategies, they are paying attention from the perspective of traditional media, which is like, oh my goodness, look at the spectacle, look at the circus, right? Looking at him in exactly the way he wants people to look at him, right? The shock and awe aspects, and responding to him the way he wants people to respond to him, right? But if you look at what he's doing and how he is maneuvering votes to himself, you got to watch him, and then frankly use the stuff he's doing that is effective and do the same thing. And I think Andrew Yang should be addressing his age frequently, right? And reminding people, I am young and vibrant, and this is going to help in the job. And I think it's very, very critical. And that's what, and actually Donald Trump was, he was saying, I'm not young and vibrant, but, I have some age on me, but I'm managing it. And that's an issue because we have some candidates on the Dem side where managing your age is a significant issue, right? And yeah, so we're going to leave that there. All right, the last is drive, okay? Aggressive drive. So let's talk specifically about Loke Metrics, okay? And let's talk about that teleprompter, all right? So Donald Trump, he does not want to present Loke Metrics. He doesn't want to talk about intersectionality. And guess what? He is an extemporaneous speaker. He does not want to use a teleprompter. He doesn't want to use a teleprompter, but he did it. And the reason why is he has aggressive drive to win this election. Absolutely powerful, aggressive drive to win this election. He is not coming at this with coasting into November 2020, even though he, like right now, he has a huge amount of momentum. And as it stands right now, he is the person to beat. He has the keys. He has Alan Lichtman's keys. He's got the majority of them, and he is moving like a freight train toward victory, okay? So he has got to be defeated, right? It's his to lose, okay? And Andrew Yang has to defeat him, okay? So that's the issue, is he's got to keep moving and be very careful and be, and he is moving toward this. So with that, he could coast into November, but he's not doing that. He is doing incredibly aggressive drive, okay? Be very careful to understand that. He's doing an incredibly aggressive drive toward the presidency. And that means he is doing things he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to present woke metrics. He doesn't want to talk about intersectionality, but he's doing it because he knows real competitors, real champions, real victors do things they don't want to do. That's the cost of victory, right? He doesn't want to use a teleprompter. He'd be much more comfortable talking extemporaneously. But he put his preference aside, and he's doing what he doesn't want to do. And that is the most powerful lesson that Andrew Yang can learn from Donald Trump's State of the Union. If he's going to win, he needs to start doing things he does not want to do, things that he doesn't like, things that are against his preference. Andrew Yang has to obey the law pain rule. He cannot break the law, and he cannot hurt anyone. But beyond that, he had better start doing things he doesn't want to do. He had better start doing things that go against his preference. He had better start doing things he doesn't like, because that is what champions do. That is what victors do. Rocky didn't want to get up at 5 a.m. and drink eggs. He did it. That's what champions do. You do what goes against your preference. You do what you don't like to do. You do things that are unpleasant, period. And I think Andrew Yang should learn that lesson from the State of the Union. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.